All right, guys, welcome back to Rome Reviews. I'm Rome, and today I wanted to talk about OriginOS 6, both the global version and the native Chinese version. And I'm able to do that now because I finally got my Vivo X Fold 3 Pro, the global one, updated to OriginOS 6. I was able to pull down a trial version, in which, in my experience, from what I've learned from using these trial versions on these different devices, is that the trial version is extremely close to the most recent update that's going to be coming. So I feel confident enough to say that I could test this and show you a few things that I've noticed between the two. Some things that they have really brought the global version of this device up to speed, to which I really like it a lot more than I did before. Fun Touch was okay. Fun Touch OS was okay, but it wasn't quite Origin OS. And now that I got it on here, we can test it out and I can show you the differences, because once we switch over to my overhead camera, you will see that I got my Vivo X Fold 5 here, and it has the Chinese version of Origin OS. And let me pull those up really quickly. And let me tell you something, while I'm doing this, I really forgot how much I love that they put the fingerprint sensor in the screen as opposed to on the button on the side. I genuinely hate the fingerprint sensor, the fingerprint reader being in the power button. I do not like it. And I don't say hate often, but I genuinely dislike that. I bump it way too often. But anyway, about phone. You'll see they both have OriginOS 6 on here. And while they look extremely similar, I'll show you that the X Fold 3 Pro is the global version, because you'll see my Google News feed here on the side, and that is not an option over here. I turned it off because I don't use it, but that would normally be the Chinese screen on the side, where it has a bunch of stuff that I just can't use, I can't utilize. So with that being said, let's jump into it. So first things first, when I long press on the screen, you will notice that you have your wallpapers here, system style, widgets. You get right into the meat of things. Here, you have to kind of navigate into Mood Cube to get a little bit further, and then you can edit your themes and wallpapers and things of that nature. So that's the first difference. Let's go into wallpaper, since that's the common one between the two. And you'll see that it brings up the very same screen. And I don't know why why the X Fold 5 is loading a little bit slower than the X Fold 3 Pro, that's very weird to me. But anyway, you'll see that the wallpaper differences. While I wish that they had brought these wallpapers over to the Vivo X Fold 5, they did not, which is, not the end of the world. But anyway, let's get into this. So I'm going to come back out of there and go into settings, and you can see I've been in here playing around quite a bit, but let's go to home screen, lock screen, and let's go to, I guess the first thing I really want to show you guys is always on display. And here's where the first difference is going to come. On the X Fold 5, you have the full screen always on display. On the X Fold 3 Pro, you do not have that option at all. Now, it will pull the number style from your current theme and pop it onto the always on display here. So you have the same font, so it'll look like looks more like a natural transition when you come out. So you'll see that. You see that once you go in, once you come out. So that's not bad, but it doesn't compare to that always on display when you come out of there. Look at that. I mean, so okay, so that's the first difference. We'll get into that. See how I have to lift this thing up and unlock it? Ugh. Anyway, going back. The other thing I'll show you is, let's go into icons. You'll see that this screen here is fairly similar. You have a little bit, a couple more options here, maybe one or two, nothing crazy. But what I want to show you is, let's go. Let's point this out. You see system style here. You do not have that button here, as opposed to is actually under the menu. And I would say that the system style makes more sense to me on the Vivo X Fold 3 Pro, the global version of OriginOS 6, because you can go in here and you could change your system UI to match the wallpaper or not, or you can turn it off and it'll do its own thing. Or you could pull in that system UI color and then you can match it to your wallpaper or not, or you can change it. That's fine. But you could also apply it to your icons. Now, while the icons are in reverse, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Let me come out of there. I'll show you. They're brighter than I would like. I would like for them to be black on the outside and the actual icon for each of the apps be the lighter outline. But that's fine. At least you get the option here. You do not have that option here on this device, or I cannot find it. I've been looking around for the better part of 2 or 3 hours, just stumbling around. I will give up and come back and look around again. I cannot find how to apply app styles. And even if I did before OriginOS 6, it only applied to the native apps on the phone. So the phone app or the camera app, but no Google apps will get that theme applied to it. On the global version, you get the theme, you get the option to apply it. It may not be quite the style that I would like, but hey, at least you get the option. So let's go back in. I'm going to leave that applied actually. Let's see, let's go back into home screen, lock screen. And what else is there? I think those are the main ones. You do have lock screen here and you can go in and do that. And I'll show you. So lock screen, theme-based lock screen, show origin player. I don't use it. Lock screen fingerprint, you could change how that looks. And I'm pretty sure you could do that on here as well. It's going to be locked under another menu, but you can see there are slight differences between the two. So you'll have to navigate through this one a little bit differently than you would on here. But if you're familiar with Android period, you'll figure out how to navigate the menus. So there's no worries there. The other thing I wanted to point out would be the cameras. Now, I didn't see this posted anywhere, but I was really hoping that the camera would bring in some of the features that you get with OriginOS, the Chinese version, than you would get on the global version, but it did not. And what I mean by that is when you click on portrait, you'll see that AI option pop up here and you can do different things with AI there. And same for landscape, you get AI and you can do your AI smart scenes. There are videos on that. I won't go into that too much, but you do not get those options here. You don't get the AI options here. So you can't just create a scene out of thin air or anything on this device, which is not the end of the world. Some people may not even care for that, but I did want to mention it. What I like to do sometimes, and I'll transition into that now, on global devices, I always go in and I'm going to have to see. Let me see. Yeah. I always like to go in and go to the Google Services menu down at the bottom and then go to all services. What I like to do here is go to ads and I like to delete that the ad ID that Google creates for you so they can market things to you that are specific to your interests. I just don't like being bombarded with stuff and being sold stuff all the time. So I just like to throw little tips like that into videos whenever I think about them. And that's one of the ones I really I really like to go in and just delete that advertising ID. So I'm just not being sold things. It's not monitoring my activity on my phone to market to me. So yep, just want to throw that in. But yep, I knew out of the gate this was going to be a quick comparison video. There are just not a ton of changes with OriginOS 6 in general. But I did want to say that I believe that anyone that goes with the global version would be happy now. And it works well with your with Wear OS. I just say Wear OS with your Samsung watches, your Pixel watches and stuff like that. It'll work with those devices really well. You won't have any issues there. You have all your Google features here. You can use your well-being, digital well-being on here to monitor your app activity and just monitor your overall health and protect yourself. OriginOS is closer to the Chinese version of OriginOS 6 I'm almost willing to say that it's closer than um it's closer to where I would prefer it to be. I don't want it to be exactly like the Chinese version, simply because you're missing some of the features that I feel like all of the other OEMs have. You have your themed icons and stuff like that. Now you can go in and download themed icons, and apply them and stuff like that. But I'm talking about the wallpaper color matching, and I feel like that's just a common feature now that OriginOS is still lacking for some reason. The Chinese version, I don't understand that. Don't and I don't get it. But anyway, I think anybody that's pursuing a global version of OriginOS will be happy with it. Now, there remains to be seen as far as like the impact to camera colors and color science and stuff like that, but I think you'll be happy with it if you go with the global version. It works for all of the stuff that you're used to living outside of China. So anyway, really appreciate you guys tuning into the video, and I will catch you in the next one. Later.